WWE getting ready to head across the pond to Scotland for Clash at the Castle coming up on Saturday. It will be on at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central on Peacock from the OVO Hydro in Glasgow, Scotland. Boy, sometimes it's hard to speak English. And to break that down, as well as everything else that's happening in wrestling, joining me on hotline, my good friend. You read all of his stuff on WrestleZone.com. It is Bill Pritchard. Bill, how are you, man?
Doing great. Ready to talk some wrestling.
The first thing that pops my head now, look, it's Tuesday. They've got 5 matches booked as of now. And I went to WWE.com, and that's it. That's 5 matches. None of them involve the bloodline. Does that
Okay.
shock you?
I, honestly, it didn't even cross my mind, but I was looking at the match card thinking like, what else could they maybe do for a potential 6 match? And I feel like that's, considering how heavy it's been a storyline the past few years, even like it is surprising that there is no representation from the bloodline.
Yeah, no trios or tag or nothing. I mean, it's nuts. I wanted to ask you. So Friday night they did this whole anointing ceremony for Tangaloa. There is the talk. We know, first of all, the rumor that Jacob Fatu allegedly is signed. He's just waiting in the wings. And now it looks like Hikuleo has finished up his commitments from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He and El Fantasma dropped the New Japan Strong tag titles at Dominion. And so allegedly Hikuleo is done with New Japan, and he is allegedly heading towards the Fed to join his brothers, Tangaloa and Tamatanga. Um, and I asked this only because the Jacob Fatu rumor has been around for
Months.
feels like a month. Yeah, I believe feels like a couple months, and we haven't seen any fruition to it. Are we going to see fruition of Hikuleu?
I don't know. I I mean, I think we have to see if we get a bloodline match in the first place. Otherwise, you know, what do we what do I don't want to take a shot at them, but what is Jacob Fatu or what is Hikuleo gonna run in for if there's no bloodline match? Because it
Well, that's
seems to
true.
be their MO. They debut during a run-in, so
Yeah. Well, and that's Solo Sikoa debuted via run-in at Clash in the Castle 2 years ago, so it makes sense
maybe
have
repeat
them
it.
on a card and have either Jacob Fatu or Hikuleo do a run-in uh, at the end. But again, as of right now, there is no match. Now, again, that could change Friday night on SmackDown, which, by the way, is coming to us from Glasgow, Scotland as well. So we'll see. Give me your thoughts on the current iteration of the Bloodline, and I guess probably more specifically the role Paul Heyman is playing right now. It's no longer the verbose and proud wise man. Now it's more like he's doing his job out of pure unadulterated fear of what could happen.
I think it's a good angle for him. We've seen him, whether it was with Roman, whether it was with Brock, I mean, even CM Punk to an extent, like he had the same delivery for years. It's, it's a new dynamic that we haven't seen from him. So I'm enjoying it. It kind of sets the table for Roman's eventual return because I think the Civil War, the Bloodline Civil War, people expect that to happen. Uh, I keep seeing these comments about like like this version of it, like they're watered down compared to the other bloodline, but it's like I feel like that's by design to an extent. Like obviously it's different. Obviously it's not Roman. Like he was at the top level during his title reign, all the accolades. So they're obviously going to be on a lower tier than the group with him. So I think I like the dynamic. I'm not expecting them to sort of, you know, recreate the same success that the original iteration had. And you also have to consider there's no Sami Zayn this time. There's a lot of different factors. So I've enjoyed it so far. I think if anything, they're giving Solo a chance to run a group. You're getting new talent in Tamatanga, Tongaloa, and like we already talked about, if Jacob Fatu or Hikuleo get in the mix, I think they're going to be on the side of Bloodline 2.0. So I think if anything, it's a good thing because they're still continuing this long. I don't want to say drawn out because I feel like it's more of a negative context, but this really really long and uh, story that people are invested in, and it's a way to put people over while waiting for sort of the other shoe to drop or Roman to come back.
Yeah. Well, and I agree, and especially with what you said about, look, this isn't this isn't going to be Roman's bloodline. This is going to be this is Bloodline 2.0. There's going to be differences, so I get that. The card that we see now, do you see a title change possibly happening?
Yeah. I'm gonna say if anybody, it's gonna be Chad Gable beating Sami Zayn, but I'm not gonna say that it's a guarantee.
So Drew McIntyre is not getting the world title.
I think CM Punk's, whether he sends in a video or he shows up, uh I think that I'm gonna say maybe as soon as SummerSlam that they're building towards McIntyre and Punk. So Judgment Day being banned, they're gonna find some way in. I don't expect this to be a clean finish at all. There's gonna be hijinks. I think we're gonna see Punk, whether it's physically in Scotland or whether he sends in a video or just something's gonna happen to continue to build towards that.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I would be really surprised if it's not in person. I gotta believe they're gonna have Punk go to Scotland, if for no other reason than to, you know, cause chaos and like you said, cost Drew
Yeah.
the match there. Uh
And he, they usually announce him in advance for some of these pre-shows. As far as I know, there's no indication he's on one of those yet. So maybe we see that this week, or maybe they don't announce him and then it's more of a surprise. But I think Punk's gonna
did,
get involved somewhere.
didn't I see something there? Aren't they doing because they're doing a kickoff Friday there in Scotland?
Yeah.
Be on their social media. Didn't I see Punk involved in that?
Is he?
I
Because
thought
I
so.
saw the fan event where it was like similar to the thing they did in Vegas with the Rock and Roman. Like it feels like they're doing an event like that, like almost like a pep rally now. So
Right. That's yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a pep rally. You're right, and it's so silly, but hey, if that's what they're gonna if that's what they're gonna do, then I guess sure, why not? Um, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's something.
I'm trying. I saw the graphic that you're talking about, but
I don't maybe, and I may just be dreaming. dreaming it up. But I swear I saw who.
Yeah, there's a free open to the public Clash at the Castle kickoff. Uh, all it says is previous events featured The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch, and more. So
All right, maybe I'm just dreaming it, but
I know what you're talking about. I saw the picture of uh, yeah, I'm not finding it. I saw it had like all the people, like 6 people going across it.
yeah, okay. Well, I would think he's gonna be there. I think they need to include him in the kickoff show just because he's so good on
Mhm.
the mic. And
Oh, here, I found it. But
oh,
okay, so the one I saw was Bailey, AJ Styles, Cody, Triple H, Michael Cole, uh Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Piper.
okay, all right.
So
So no Punk in the graphic, but like I said, I think they need to take him over just to have him on the mic because, like I said, he's good. He's good on the mic. Um, if I mean, let's say how many more matches because Triple H has been keeping these, especially these overseas PLEs, kind of truncated. So I'm gonna put the over under at 2 additional matches. Over or under that we'll see 2 additional matches
I'm
added.
gonna go under. I think if we get
Okay.
one, it's one. Before we started recording, I was thinking Logan Paul would have been a good person for this. But right now, I think it might be. I mean, I feel like I talked myself into like a bloodline match, whatever, whether it's trios, tag. I'm
Yeah.
kind of talking myself into that right now.
Yeah, I know they're trying to set up Logan Paul in LA Knight, although that feels more like either Money in the Bank or maybe even SummerSlam. I
Hmm.
probably Money in the Bank since that's coming up in just a few weeks in Toronto. So I think you're right. But yeah, I mean, and interesting that all 5 matches are title matches. You got Jade and Bianca taking on Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, as well as Alba Fire and Ela Dawn for the women's tag team titles. And I don't know why, but it is when I guess Monday night when I'm watching Raw and I see the graphic for that match and something hit me. I'm going, okay, Clash of the Castle. That's when Jade turns on Bianca. I mean, there's no they haven't planted any seeds yet. As of right now, they're still an absolutely coherent team. So, how far off am I that it could happen Clash at the Castle?
That's another one I'm just kind of waiting for it to happen. It feels like it could happen as soon as this weekend, so
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. Like I feel like they kind of teased dissension, or they maybe it was again like talking myself into it, like in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Like
Yeah,
it felt like that was maybe a good spot to do it, and they didn't. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I kind of see them retaining this weekend.
yeah,
So I'm thinking may maybe SummerSlam. Like I feel like they could get a little bit more out of it.
yeah. I think you're right. I think it's gonna last a little longer. We know it's gonna happen. That's just the way things go. We know that's gonna happen. The Sami Zayn Chad Gable. I mean, and you're right. That feels like the most likely. If we had to pick, if there was going to be one title change, that's going to be the one. Do we see because the fans are just chomping at the bit for Otis and the rest of Alpha Academy to finally say enough snuff. And we heard the rumor that, Chad Gable's going to get the Creed brothers to join him. Do we see that happen, or do we at least see something along those lines this weekend, whether it's Otis decides he's going to just take out Chad Gable, or something? Do we see that happening in Scotland?
I could see both happening. The Creeds and Otis decking him. Uh, I feel like if you're putting Chad in this spot after, I think Sammy said this is the third or fourth title match that they've had, not even counting Chad and Gunther. Like, I think you gotta pay it off to that part. Like, I think you have to have Gable as a champion, and I think the Creeds can, kind of be his heaters while he's the champion, and then you see him retain the title with all kinds of help. But I I think at this point you kind of have to do it.
See, yeah, that's the thing, and saying that, it makes me think. Okay, actually, Otis is going to cost Chad Gable. So he down at ringside, and they're going at it, and Gable wants Otis to do something, screams at him, slaps him,
He
and
refuses.
and Otis takes out Chad Gable
Mhm.
and gives and basically lays him out. Sammy hits the hula hoop kick, and that's it. So I don't know. It feels like, I mean, the fans, they're on the edge. They're ready for it to happen. But yeah, Bailey, Piper Niven for the women's title, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre for the world title, Cody and AJ for the WWE Championship in an I Quit match. That'll be a good one, but it'll be interesting how they end up with AJ somehow saying I quit.
Mhm. I think we agree that it'll be him saying it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think too many people think Cody's losing, but uh I don't think it's gonna be any like trickery, like dubbing Mick Foley's voice over at what was that, Survivor Series 99. Like, I don't think it's gonna be anything like that, but
I was going to say, let's go back further and try to dub Tully from Starcade. Oh man, that would be funny. That's WWE Clash of the Castle this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, on Peacock from Glasgow, Scotland. Did you see any of NXT Battleground?
I did. I pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed uh, the uh the underground match was, probably my favorite match of the night, and then
Yeah,
the Jordan Grace match was really good, and I I'm happy to see her, even if it's just the one time. Like, she's still under contract with TNA. I'm glad that she got the TV match before that, but it was such a cool opportunity. Like, even watching live, I'm like, can't believe this is happening. Like,
yeah.
you know, Forbidden Door, or whatever you want to call it. Like,
Well, and that's the thing. It felt a little like, this is all right. You want to do a Forbidden Door AEW? Let's,
mhm.
we'll see your Forbidden Door. And so, uh, the underground match with Shayna Lola Vice winning. I don't know why, but I guess going into that, I expected Shayna to win. So I was
Yeah.
a little surprised, but now, start to think about it. Okay, I get it. Put the NXT talent over, and then you can go back to Raw and be the badass that you are. Uh, give me your thoughts. I mean, you said you liked that match. Give me your thoughts on the result.
I was okay with it. I think I expected Shayna to win too, but it really, I think, gave Lola sort of the credibility that she was looking for, or maybe she needed, as far as newcomer being in NXT, because there's been criticism about her and her character, like, with the dancing and stuff. And, now you get to see this side. She can back it up. Uh, there were a lot of really great spots in that. I think one of my favorites was when Lola hit Shayna and she sort of did like the trust fall
Mm,
onto the floor, and I forget who she hit, but she like landed on a couple of the guys at ringside. I liked that. Uh, I thought they both looked great. They did a blood sport style match, but it was still a WWE wrestling match.
hmm.
I think it was a nice blend of the two where it didn't feel out of place on the card. So
Yeah.
I thought it was, I mean, they went to war with each
It
other.
was, and it was fitting that it's in the UFC Apex. So there's that.
Mhm.
Kelani Jordan, congratulations to her. She survives the six-pack ladder match. She is now the new women's North American champion. Otherwise, everybody else retained their titles, including Trick Williams getting the win all over All Ego Ethan Page. Give me your thoughts on Ethan Page's debut in NXT.
I've enjoyed it so far. I don't think I expected him to win the match. I think Trick, they're building the show around him right now, but it's another opportunity to kind of show why Ethan's so talented. And I mean, the past couple months, like when he was still with AEW and Ring of Honor, it was kind of like what happened with him in Ring of Honor, what happened with his match with Kyle Fletcher. Then before that, it was what happened with the payoff to the Hardys, and it was like he'd get so much TV time and there's so much momentum, and then all of a sudden it's like he's gone for weeks at a time. So it's like I'm a fan of him, so starting him off like this makes me see that he's going to be in a better position with NXT than he has been in a few years. So I'm okay with that, but I think he's done a lot right. I mean, we've only seen him what was it, three promos, maybe,
Hmm.
and I'm including the one that he said on social media where he said he didn't sign the contract yet.
Right.
But we've seen I mean, his promos have been great. We've only seen one match, and I thought it was good. So, I think, he's only going to go up from here.
Look, Ethan Page is so talented. He's such a good wrestler, and I look forward to seeing him have big success in NXT, and then whenever he eventually makes it on to either Raw or SmackDown. So, let's switch gears. Let's talk a little AEW. Uh, John Moxley successfully defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion, defeating Evil, and then Tetsuya Naito steps up, and now it's going to be Naito against Moxley at Forbidden Door. How intrigued are you at this match?
I'm a Moxley fan, so I'm interested in that aspect, and I'm not as familiar with Nito's work just because I don't watch New Japan as much, but I think it's a good opportunity for fans maybe like myself that don't watch like New Japan as much.
Okay.
But I think it's a good feud for Moxley just because I know Japanese wrestling, he really gravitates towards that. It's an inspiration for him. So I think you'll see, I don't want to say more interested, but I think you're going to see a little bit more passion because of the admiration he has for the wrestling and the talent over there.
Yeah. It intrigues me with Naito because they gave him a title reign a couple years ago. It wasn't very long. Felt like it kind of fell flat a little bit. I do. So, interesting that they've decided to put him back up in the title picture. Um, there's obviously there's always the prospect of the rest of Los Ingobernables de Japón, coming in, causing distraction on Naito's behalf. Then again, you got the BCC on Moxley's behalf, so that could be a fun little visual having Lij on one side and BCC on the other one. That could be a lot of fun. But um, the other match that right now has been booked for Forbidden Door, Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy. Zack Sabre Jr., absolute phenomenal tactician. Orange Cassidy has been showing he is a fantastic tactician as well. This has got that. This has got that like dark horse match of the night type feel for it. Give me your thoughts.
I I have that sort of same feeling towards it where, and this is almost like I feel like a lot of Orange Cassidy matches, like you don't really expect the opponent, in this case Zack Sabre Jr., like maybe don't immediately expect them to click, but I feel like that's been some of Orange's best matches in AEW, and I feel like this could be another one like that where his character's a slacker. Like I think some a sloth like is appropriate too, and it's not in character for him to wrestle a guy like Zack Sabre Jr., like almost go like uh move for move. But I think this is a chance for him to sort of break out that stuff that he doesn't get to use. And like you said, I think it could be a breakout match on that show.
Yeah, I really do. I've got some high hopes for that one. So, Dax Harwood announcing he's out of action. He was actually hiding an injury. He suffered a hematoma during the tag title match at Dynasty. He's been hiding it, but it flared up. It was I think it was during the Anarchy Arena match, maybe, or something like that, where
Mm-hmm.
it got exacerbated. So now he's going to have to stay home for a while. This basically, it looks like FTR is going to be, on the sidelines for a bit, which it saddened me only, not only because FTR is such a good tag team, they're fun to watch, but you got to figure we're going to have the payoff to Anarchy in the Arena with the Elite, doing whatever it is they're doing, and FTR is going to be involved in that payoff. And now that looks like it's going to be at least FTR is going to be out of action for a while. Um, Give me your thoughts on Dax Harwood being on the sidelines for an extended period of time.
Uh, tough break for him. Tough break for AEW. I certainly feel bad uh, that he had to hide it, but I also understand it, and I know he offered more detailed comments after. I don't know if you saw the post from Disco Inferno.
Yeah, I did
So
know that.
he
Yeah,
said, it wasn't a safety concern, or it wasn't like the safety record. It was wrestlers going back, decades. They feel this need to hide it themselves. It's not on the company. Like in this case, he was hiding it, and he said Tony found out, the company found out, and immediately said, "No, you're out." So good on them for doing that, putting his safety, and maybe in some cases his opponent's safety. Like you know, I don't want to speculate too much, but they put health first, their talent safety first. So I think they handled it appropriately, and that between this and the Devil storyline with MJF and Adam Cole, it's a tough break for them as far as injuries derailing their big storyline. So they got to figure out something to sort of uh, maybe substitute somebody into the storyline, because Eddie Kingston is out too, and he was involved in that match too,
Yeah,
or he was supposed to be, and then
he got
Darby subbed
hurt.
in,
Yeah,
so
because he got hurt.
it's
And that's the thing. Look, pro athletes hide injuries. I've heard of several. I have friends that play in the NFL, and they talk about how they didn't let the athletic trainers know that they're injured because, and it's the old mentality of if I'm not out there, somebody's going to take my spot.
mhm.
That's the way it's that way in wrestling. It's that way in the NFL. You name it. So you know, I don't blame Dax as much as probably some people should because again, all pro athletes do it. But at the same time, yeah, there comes a time when you got to put your health first and let the chips fall where they may. Not to mention, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Look, they're kind of made men, so they can take the time off. They can come back. They'll be hotter. They'll be just as hot, and they'll go right back into it. So I'm not too worried about losing a spot or anything like that. So, um, before I let you go, so Chris Jericho has been leaning into this whole learning tree and being the oblivious "hi guys" and all this stuff and everything, and now he has his own talk show segment, appropriately named the Learning Tree. In fact, I think he's got Private Party coming on tomorrow night on Dynamite. Give me your thoughts on a this isn't this isn't what he did in WWE, but hey, Chris Jericho once again hosting a talk show segment, this time on Dynamite.
I have enjoyed it so far. I think it's a good way to kind of turn things around on the fans that have called Jericho washed up, and all the comments about he's past his prime and he's stealing TV time from a younger talent. Like, he's literally saying things even though it's in character. He's like, yeah, I'm going to take this TV time, and like the promo he cut on the way to the Rolling Stones concert last week.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to educate you and you're all my little branches, and he has all these nicknames. Like, I like that part of it. And I don't think it's like, I don't see it going any farther. Like, I think this is its final form. He's just going to be obnoxious, and he has Big Bill, and I've enjoyed it. I just think they have to be careful not to let it go too long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it has a short shelf life, but I'm enjoying it for what it is.
It's fun. I'm not crazy about Brian Keith being a part of it, but hey, I know Brian. If that feels a little like a square peg in a round hole, to be honest. Um, but hey, we'll see how they work it out.
Mhm.
I do kind of laugh. It's entertaining with the whole these just oblivious to everything, and we'll see. I think it'll be fun. Like you said, I think you can't run very long, or it's just going to be white noise. But yeah, I think could be a lot of fun. So he is Bill Pritchard. Read all of his stuff on WrestleZone.com. Bill, I appreciate it, man. All the best to you. Hope you stay cool in the summer up there in the Northeast. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.